Yes, sir. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So within 5 minutes, we will start. Yes, your PPT is visible now, sir.
Okay. So shall we wait or shall we start?
Yes, I will just tell you. We will have one brief introduction and then we can start. So after 5 minutes, we will start the session. Ugle sir.
Yes, sir.
You are ready to introduce the sir speaker?
Yes, sir. I'm just starting the PPT.
Wankhede sir, our co-host Ashish Ugle sir will share his PPT and then you can share your presentation.
Sir, I'm ready. Hello, sir.
So dear participants, welcome to this STDP session, third session at 1 p.m. So today we have with us Professor Rajan Wankhede sir. So I call to Ashish Ugle sir to introduce the today's speaker and then we will start the today's session.
Hello. Very good afternoon and welcome again in the AICT sponsored 1 week short training program. For afternoon session, our guest of honor is Dr. Rajan Wankhede sir. I'm just going to share his introduction in brief. Dr. Rajan Lakshmanrao Wankhede, Assistant Professor, Government College of Engineering, Nagpur. He did his undergraduation from Government College of Engineering, Amravati under HGBAU. Then he done his post-graduation from the Government College of Engineering, Amravati in 2009. After that, he done his doctorate from IIT Bombay in 2015. He's having vast experience in different areas. Some of the interested areas for him is finite element analysis, composite structure, analysis of smart structures, development of host theories, thick beams and plates, and non-destructive techniques. He is also having a software efficiency in different software programs like ANSYS, SAP, ETABS, STAAD Pro, and again another FE programming with the MATLAB. He is having some achievements in qualified Maharashtra Public Commission's Maharashtra Engineering Services examinations in 2009. Recognized postgraduate teacher at Nagpur University and also work as a PhD examiner in Pune University. He's having his professional experience, worked as an assistant professor in Government College of Engineering Karad from 2016 to 2000. He is having a teaching experience in Government College of Engineering Nagpur from 2016 to till date. He also worked as assistant professor in Government College of Engineering Karad from 2010 to 2016 for undergraduate as well as postgraduate. He did some consultancy projects and completed with honor. Some of the completed projects are the Jal Swarya 2, Ekarjuna projects under the Water Resources Department at Chandrapur, Yavatmal and for Amravati. The total cost for all the projects is near about 11 lakhs. Ongoing projects under his supervisions are Nagarpalika Parishad, Kawarda, District Kabigram, Chhattisgarh. He is having some professional memberships in Indian Concrete Institute, MI, that is Institution of Engineers. He is having postdoc fellowships. He admitted in Department of Biomedical Engineering and Mechanics, Virginia Tech, Blacksburg, US in 2018, and also Division of Ocean Science and Technology, Tsinghua University, China in 2016. He is having a vast research publication. He published 16 international journal papers, 7 national conference, 7 international conference, and also did the 4 books. Extracurricular activities, he delivered wonderful lectures in different and many FDPs and STTP and conferences. So our today's guest of honor, Dr. Rajan Wankhede, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of VYWS Professor Ram Meghe College of Engineering and Management, Badnera. Rajan, sir.
Thank you. Over to you, sir. You are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and please share your PPT, sir.
Okay. Is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you, Professor Praveen Khandwe, sir, for giving such a nice introduction of me. And the workshop is on the computational intelligence in applications design, and it is AICTE sponsored. So I'm happy to deliver a lecture on the important provision of the revised seismic code, that is IS 1893 Part 1 2016. So the IS 1893, which was in 2002, is revised, and this is the 6th revision of this IS code. Likewise, IS 1893, there are many other IS code which are revised. IS 13920 is also revised in 2015. So I will talk regarding the important provisions which are made in IS 1893. That is the Part 1. Part 1 is for the general specifications and for the buildings. Likewise, there is Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, and those the other parts are for the bridges, dams, liquid storage tanks, and other provisions. But Part 1 is for the buildings and general provisions for the earthquake resistance design. So we know we designed the structure for the RCC structure is designed, which consists of the RCC, and the material consists of the concrete and the steel. In this, the steel is the ductile material and the concrete is the brittle material. Now, the ductile drilling plays a vital role in the design of the RC members, and hence steel and ductile designing is to be governed by the specific codal provisions, and hence the requirement which is for the designing and detailing of the monolithic RC buildings and to give them the sufficient toughness, ductility is the important provision, and those are made by means of the IS 1893 and IS 13920. This code contains the general specifications and the provisions. So as I told you, IS 1893 1962 was the first IS code, and the very general specifications were given in the first IS code, and it was composed of the only one part, that is the full IS code, and it was applicable to all types of the structure in 1962. Now it was revised in the 1966, but still little provisions were incorporated and not much difference were given to the buildings, dams, water tanks. Now, the second revision of this IS code was made in 1970, and then next revision was made in the 1975. So up to 1975, and then fourth revision 1984. Up to 1984, the IS code was the only one bunch of the specification. Now in 2002, the earthquake of the Bhuj occurs, and in 2002, for that earthquake, is it audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, you are
In
audible.
2002, the IS code was divided into the 5 parts. And why there is a need of dividing this IS code into 5 parts? Because in 2002, the Bhuj earthquake occurs, and that Bhuj earthquake we observed, or the people observed, that for buildings there can be a different specification, for water tanks there can be different specification, for bridges and retaining wall the different specification should be there, for dam means these specifications shall be different from all of this, and hence the specifications were formatted for this all the types of the structure in a different way, and hence part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, all these comes into existence in the sixth revision of the IS code, that is 2006.
Swapnil Deshmukh, please close your mic.
Yes, it is audible, sir.
Yes, sir, it is clear. Swapnil
Okay.
Deshmukh has made some
So
voice.
the IS 1890-16 is the sixth revision, which is made after the 2002, and some important provisions are made in 2016 IS code by giving some specific definition for the soft story, for the weak story, and then for the buildings with the shear wall, the how to find the time period for the different, and then the SA by G ratio. So all this is made in the sixth revision of the IS code, that is 2016. We have the moderate earthquake, we have the large earthquake. Now, if there is a small earthquake, we don't feel the shaking, we don't feel the disturbance of the structural elements, structural members. But if it is a moderate earthquake, this can give the little shaking. Now, moderate earthquake occurs for without structural damage. It could occur for the number of times in the lifespan of the structure. The code-based design seismic coefficient can be used for the designing of the structures in the moderate earthquake. But if it is a large earthquake, it can lead to, with or without collapse, major damage to the structure. And this can occur in the once in lifetime of the structure, like Bhuj earthquake, Khilari earthquake. Those are the example of these large earthquakes. Now, when we design buildings, we generally go for the such type of structures which are having the simpler plan, and this simpler plan structure performs the better. But if we have the irregular type of the building, that is irregularity which we have are the geometric irregularity, we have the stiffness irregularity, we have the mass irregularity, we have the vertical irregularity. These are the different types of irregularity. Now, if we have the irregular structure and having these different types of the irregularity, this cannot perform better in the earthquake, in the this seismic occurrence of the earthquake, and hence we generally go for the simpler the plan, better the performance. We have the construction materials, as I told, RCC, PCC. In RCC, we use the structural steel as the ductile material, and this ductile material shall be given specific guidelines for designing of the reinforcement in the ductile detailing. We go for the strong column and weak beam, because the beam, if the beams are weak but column is strong, column take the load, and the joint should be sufficient to take the horizontal seismic load. That is the main approach of the strong column weak beam theory. Horizontal bands, lintels are to be provided like at the door, at the windows. If these are not provided, then this can lead to the earthquake. And best example of this is the Latur earthquake incident. Bhuj incident in 2002 that was occurred, and then in that earthquake we also observed that soft story, weak story, specific definition given for the soft story, weak story, and due to the availability of the soft story and weak story, how the building becomes the unstable. It is having the less stiffness, and hence the provision regarding the soft story and weak story is given in the IS code to go for the higher stiffness of these weak stories. So how to improve this stiffness of this weak story is the one of the approach. Shear wall can also be provided. The shear wall and the positioning of the shear wall can lead to the improving the stiffness of the structure in that lateral dimension. Base assumption is one of the technique to go for the absorption of the shocks due to the horizontal motion of the structure, ground vibration that is counterbalanced by the base isolation. We can do the dampers. Different dampers are there: tune mass damper, viscoelastic dampers, fixture dampers, yielding dampers. These dampers can be prepared by steel, by the lead, rubber, bearing. There are the various types of the dampers, and these dampers act as a shock absorber. If there is a horizontal shaking, the joint movements, the joint forces can be absorbed by these dampers. And if the damper fails, then we don't have that much of the lack. But if the structure fails, we can have the lack of the humanity, lack of the structures. So we provide this type of the dampers. When earthquake occurs, these dampers, if we are using the lead damper breaks and this absorbs the shock vibrations. Upright system is also one of the systems which keep the building upright. It also acts as the shock absorber. It dissipates the energy, and hence this system is also used in various techniques as the shock absorber. Now we design the member as a flexural member, shear member. The member which take the flexural forces, that is the bending moment, is called as a flexural member. And in our general designing purpose, our beam is the flexural member because beam is designed for the bending. If it is a cantilever beam, bending moment or the fixed end moment takes at the support. If it is simply supported beam, higher bending moment at the center. If it is a fixed and continuous beam or the continuous beam, bending moments, those are occur at the center of the beam, center of the span, and at the support there occurs the fixed end moments or the support moments. Now for these moments we use the IS 4562000, and in IS 4562000 the coefficient of the bending moments are given, and from that we find the steel reinforcement, and we design the beam as a flexure member, and we design it for the shear also. Now for designing the flexure member, that is the beam, we have the specific criteria for the width and depth of the beam. We generally don't go for the lesser than the 200 mm width of the beam. We generally provide 230 mm, 300 mm. In some of the cases, only 300 mm width of the beam is specified, like water tank and all these structures. Now the depth of the beam is restricted for the criteria B by D ratio should be greater than 3. That is the depth criteria. Again, the depth criteria depends on the diameter of the reinforcement which are to be used. That is also one of the criteria which is incorporated. The depth of the member shall not be more than 1/4 of the steel span because it may lead to the deep beam. So that is the difference of the flexural members. We have the longitudinal reinforcement. We can provide the main reinforcement. We can provide the nominal steel, but the definition and the arrangement of this main reinforcement, longitudinal reinforcement, is governed by the IS code, and the specific criteria should be followed for providing the reinforcement. Minimum 2 number of bars and maximum number of bars can be provided in the layers also. We can provide the bars in the 2 layers, 3 layers also if the depth of the beam is much, and the development lane should be proper for this longitudinal reinforcement. The top and bottom reinforcement shall be considered at least 2 bars, that we know, because we cannot go for only 1 bar. We have the symmetric structure, and at top also nominal 2 bars shall be provided. Wave reinforcement. In shear reinforcement, transfer reinforcement, that is to be provided by the specified criteria. The minimum spacing between the reinforcement shall be 100 mm, and that shall not exist at 100 mm at the supports or at the place where confinement of the reinforcement is required. That is the specific criteria, and it is given in the IS code IS 13920 that this spacing between the stirrup shall not exceed 100 mm. For column also, at the point of the junction, there is a beam and column junction. The confinement of the reinforcement shall be provided in at column and also the junction of the beam also, both the places. This should not be greater than 100 mm. At the center of the column, the reinforcement should have the confinement. The stirrup shall be 2-leg stirrup, 4-leg and different leg stirrup can be used as specified or as given by the depth of the column. If the depth of the column is higher, greater depth, we can have this type of the arrangement for the stirrups. Some important provisions or divisions, these are made in 1893 and 1890. When we have the beam width and beam depth, in that case, as per the latest IS code, if the diameter of the bar is given by the dB, then we can go for the 20 dB dimension of the column or 300 mm. So minimum column width should be greater than or equal to 300 mm, or it should be 20 times the diameter of the main reinforcement. If the diameter of the main reinforcement is 20 mm, then 20 into 20, that should be the column width. If diameter of the bar is 25 mm, then 25 into 20, that is 500 mm should be the dimension of the column. That is the criteria. And as per the IS 1390 also, pent up pass, inclined links and concrete RC, that should be governed by the specific criteria. Now, as per the IS 1893 2016, these structures are designed as per the standards and are expected to sustain the damage. Smaller damage can be sustained by this, so that it can be recovered or we can repair the structure. The provisions of these standards are intended for earthquake resistant design for the normal structures. Base isolation and energy absorbing devices may be used for the earthquake resistant design, and this we are not given the specific codal provision criteria, but in 2016 the special importance is given for the base isolation and energy absorbing devices, that is the dampers, base isolation. The zone which were divided into 5 parts in the previous IS code, in very basic IS code, like the previous 15 years basic IS code, the zone were divided into 5 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the zones are divided into 4 parts, and the these regions are given by these colors: zone, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, and zone 5, having the different zone factors, that is 0.1, 0.16, 0.2, 0.36. The red colors are marked by the zone 5. Yellow color is marked for the zone 3, and this is given in the IS code. Now, this zone coefficient, that is Z, value of Z as given in the IS code. Now, depending on these values of Z, then we have the SA by G ratio, we have R, and we have I. And from this, we have the formula for the design horizontal seismic coefficient. Now, what is the use of this design horizontal seismic coefficient? This formula, design horizontal seismic coefficient, is used to find the base shear. Now, base shear and the horizontal forces at the different level of the building frames can be found out from the total seismic weight of the building. Now, total seismic weight of the building can be found out with addition of the weight at each floor. Now, if H is the height of the building, we can specify the HI, that is the height at each level, HI, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, like by the height of the building, and AH multiplied with the W, that will give the total seismic force, and from that we can find out the VB static and VB dynamic. VB static is the VB static as the forces in the static, and VB dynamic is the forces in the dynamic. Now AH is given by Z by 2 into SA by G upon R upon I. Simplified, we can write Z by 2 into I by R into SA upon G. Here Z is the zone factor given by the IS code 0.16, 0.24 likewise for different zones, and it is given by these zones, that is for the Z. Now we have the SA by G ratio. SA by G ratio depends on the time period, that is TA, and this TA is calculated for the different height of the building and for different soil condition, that is SA by G. Now we will see how to find out the SA by G. We have the I, that is the importance factor. Importance factor depends upon the building use. If it is importance building, it is the normal building. If it is a public building, if it is a school building. R is the response reduction factor. Response reduction factor depends on the ductility of the structure. How, if the more ductile, how is the response factor? If it is less ductile, how is the response factor? All these factors contribute to the AH, and hence this factor can be given more important, and these values of this factor are given or specified by the IS code. Now this is the formula for the AH, that is the horizontal seismic coefficient. Now in the previous IS code, vertical seismic coefficient was not given that importance, and hence in IS 2016, vertical seismic coefficient is also given as the specific formula, that is given by the AV, A and V. V for the vertical seismic coefficient, that is given by 2 by 3 Z by 2 into 2.4 R upon I. So this formula which is given for horizontal seismic coefficient is little modified for the vertical coefficient, and this depends on the buildings, liquid retaining tanks, bridges, and the industrial structures. So if there is a liquid retaining tank, instead of using this formula, you will have to use this formula, modified formula. So that is for the vertical seismic coefficient. SA by G ratio depends on the time period. If T lies between 0 to 0.4 second, if T is between 0.4 to 4 second, if T is greater than 4 second, and also the SA by G ratio depends on time as well as the soil condition. If it is hard soil, rock soil, if it is a medium soil, stiff soil, if it is soft soil, then your SA by G will be little different. And for vertical and horizontal seismic, you will have to find out the SA by G ratio from this page number 9 of the IS 1890-2016. Now, how to find out the time period? So in previous IS code, we were bound to use only one formula for the to go for this formula. TA equals to 0.075 h to the power 0.75 upon under AW, and that should be greater than or equals to 0.09 h upon under D. That is the basic formula. Okay, so this TA is introduced in the latest IS code. This is the incorporation of this formula, and this AW, that is the effective area of the shear wall, is given by this formula. Summation I equals to 1 to N W and AWI 0.2 plus LW upon H whole square, and that is H is the height of the building, AWI effective crossing area of the wall, length, then base dimension, and number of walls of the shear wall. And if there is a bare moment resistance frame without shear wall, the formula becomes as T equals to 0.075 h to the power 0.25 RC moment resistance frame. If it is steel composite frame, that formula will be replaced by T equals to 0.080 h to the power 0.75. And if it is only the steel moment resistance field building without any composite, the formula becomes as 0.085 h to the power 0.75. So this is the incorporation of this time period formula, and for different structure we can use the different formula for the TA. But limit of this formula is it should not be greater than the 0.09 h to the power h upon under root D. So that is the basic formula. Now we have some irregularities of the building and how to take the base effective dimension, that is given by these figures. If it is rectangular, D is the overall width of this structure, but if it is having unsymmetric geometry, the base dimension is different from the top dimension, then D shall be the effective D. So this figure shows the effective D, which is taking part in the seismic forces. If it is set back step by type of building vertical irregularity, then D, that dimension will be from first column to the last column. So the figure shows some irregular types of the building. The building can be have the plan irregularity, T-shaped building, L-shaped building. These are the example of the plan irregularity. We have the stiffness and mass irregularity. If the building is having the soft story, if the building is having the weak story, if the building is having the different stiffness at various levels, then this irregularity can be termed as the stiffness and mass irregularity. Some malls are the example of this stiffness and mass irregularity. In some malls, the middle portion can be larger than the top and bottom portion, then it can be termed as the mass and stiffness irregularity, because stiffness and masses are different at different levels. Some malls, some specific hospitals are example of this mass and stiffness irregularity. We have the vertical irregularity. The sloping ground is available in Himalaya region. So in that cases, if the houses are constructed in that sloping ground, then it will be termed as the vertical irregularity. Now we have the equivalent static analysis, and in equivalent static analysis, we find the QI. Now we have seen the formula for H, that is Z by 2 I by R SC by G, and this formula of the AH is termed into the VB, that is the design lateral force, and this design lateral force is given by VB equals to AH into W, and from this VB we will find out the QI. QI is the base shear, that is the lateral force, and QI is termed as the VB into WI HI square upon summation WI HI square, and here I represent the level. First, if it is a 4-story building, I will be 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And for this building should be designed for at least minimum design aspect of the lateral force as given by the clause 7.2.2. And for this, various percentages are given. If the building height is less than 120 mm or equals to 120 meter, the different zone, for different zone, this factor should be 0.7, 1.1, 1.7, 2.4. So this is the limit for these factors. So likewise, VB static, we have the VB dynamics. Now, if we go for the VB dynamics, that formula which is given by the summation WHI upon summation WHI square will be converted into PK, and that PK, that is modal participation factor, will become summation WI phi I upon summation WI phi I square, where phi represents the mode shape of the first mode, second mode, third mode, fourth mode, and likewise. Now we will consider those modes which are having the maximum contribution. Likewise, 90% contribution should be there for going into the different modes. And hence, in this term, QI, that is lateral design force, will be given by AI phi I PK into W. And in static, we have QI as this formula VB into this, and VB H into W. And here, that will be represented by QI equals to AH, that is AIK into phi IK PK into W. And here, phi IK will be given by the mode shapes, modal shape coefficients, and this PK will be the summation WI phi upon summation WI phi square. And WI is the seismic weight of the floor, that can be found out similar to the static. And hence, we have the two methods, SRSS and ABSS method, for finding out the value of this lambda. And this is square root of sum of the squares method. Lambda equals to lambda k for different modes, and square of this term with the root. Now, importance factor. So importance factors which were having only two values in the previous IS code, that is 1.5 and 1, is revised in this IS 2016 as 1.5, 1.21, and the values of the larger of these values. So those buildings which are important service community building structures, like the government buildings, schools, monument structures, for this importance factor is higher, that is 1.5. Normal building, residential, commercial buildings that are not that much importance, but still that are having the specified governance criteria, and it is having the occupancy more than 200%, we shall go for the 1.2 importance factor. Now in previous IS code, instead of 1.2, it was only 1. Now it is modified as 1.2. And for all other buildings, normal regular buildings, we use the importance factor as 1. Then we have this previous IS code 1.5 and 1 criteria. which is modified in 2016 IS code as the 1.5, 1.2, 1. So these are the different values which are incorporated. Now we have the response reduction factor. Response reduction factor is given by the stiffness criteria, and stiffness criteria depends on the ordinary moment resistance in frame, special moment resistance in frame, the composite frames, likewise the frames with having the brick wall, infill wall. So all this depends on the stiffness, and hence for the stiffness we have the response reduction factor. Response reduction factor for OMRF is 3, SMRF 5, and these values. The addition of this, like building with ordinary RC structural walls, 3 is introduced. The 4 factor 2.5, these are introduced for the structural wall systems. So this is the addition of the clause 7.2.6 in the new IS code. Dual system and other flat slab system that are going to be given the importance, and the these factors are introduced like 3, 2.5, and 3, 3.54. The another introduction of the new parameter, that is the, as per the previous IS code 2002-1893, the time period was 4 seconds, and it is now extended to 6 seconds. So natural period, that is the T, and times in second is elongated to 6 seconds in the new revised IS code. So this is the spectra, and this is given for the different types of soil: type 1, type 2, that is soft, medium, and rock. Now this type of soil, which is given by the soft soil, rock soil, medium soil, is given by, specified by this codal provision: type A soil, type B, type C, and type D. So these are the clauses depending on the that n values. So percentage of the increase in allowable capacity of the soil. If it is a rock soil, you can increase the percentage of allowable in the soil, that is 50%, 25%, 0% for the soft soil. So for soft soil, no percentage allowable or the bearing capacity is allowed. That is the bearing pressure of the soil. Codal design philosophy: we have the ductile. We need the ductile behavior of the structure, and ductile behavior can be obtained by having the specified confinement of the reinforcement. We avoid the brittle behavior of the structure, and hence equivalent of the ductile and behavior factor with equal elastic and elastic deformation. So we want only elastic and elastic deformation, but we don't want the brittle failure. Now we have the different load combinations for this earthquake resistance design. So we have the dead load as 1.5 times the dead load, live load 1.5 times the live load. When we add the earthquake load, we take the 1.2 times. Now we have the different load combination. If we have 1.5 dead load, live load, 1.5 dead load, live load, plus and 1.2 dead load, live load, earthquake load, that is the combination. Now these combinations are specified by the design horizontal earthquake loads, and this is given by the ELS plus minus ELY. If earthquake is taken in X direction, then in second direction 0.3%, 30%, that is 0.3. If we take earthquake in Y direction, then we can take 30% in X direction. So ELX plus minus 0.3 ELY. If ELY, then plus minus 0.3 ELX. That is the major direction is X. If 0.3 is Y direction, major direction is Y. If we take 30% X direction. Okay. So for this we have these combinations: 1.5 dead load, live load, normal loading, 1.2 times dead load plus live load, plus minus earthquake in X direction, 1.2 dead load, live load, plus minus earthquake in Y direction, and 0.3% is added for the that orthogonal direction. That is part of the orthogonal direction. And 1.5 dead load, live load, earthquake load, 0.9 dead load plus minus 1.5 ELX, major direction, and 0.9 dead load plus minus 1.5 ELY, that is in major direction. So these are the load combination, and taking all the load combination, this can lead to the envelope of these loads, and from these envelopes we will pick the maximum load combination which will give the maximum force, and for that maximum forces we will find out the bending moment and shear force, and for that we will design the structure. Now, likewise, horizontal seismic coefficient and horizontal effect, we will consider the vertical effect also. But there are some conditions to consider vertical effect. If it is a normal structure and not that much earthquake prone region, we shall not go for the vertical earthquake effects because it will not contribute that much for that. And if you consider the vertical effect, that will be uneconomical. So, to avoid the uneconomical condition, to uh, avoid this, we will have these guidelines for the vertical earthquake effect. And for considering the vertical effects, if the structure is located in seismic zone 4 or 5, you go for the vertical earthquake effects. If it is located in zone 2 or 3, don't go for a vertical effect. If the structure has a vertical irregularity or plan irregularity, you can consider vertical earthquake effects. You should consider the vertical earthquake effect. If the structure is just in the subsoil, you should consider vertical earthquake effect because it will lead to the unequal settlement. Bridges, why for the bridges we should consider vertical effect? Because in bridge, the span between the two columns is very large, and hence for such large span, unequal settlement can occur, and hence vertical earthquake effect shall be considered. Structure having longer span, example bridges, overhead structural cantilevers, subsystem. In that case, you should consider vertical earthquake effect because this will create the differential moments. So combination of these earthquake effects for the 3D ground shaking can also be considered. So for 3D ground shaking, we have ELX, ELY, and ELZ. If major direction is taken as ELX, that is X direction, 0.3 per 0.3 and 0.3 means 30% is the Y direction and 30% is Z direction shall be considered. Major direction is the Y direction, then 30% is Z and 30% is X. If the major direction is Z, then the X and Y directions we shall take the 30% of the earthquake force. And other combination are given in terms of the 1.2 dead load, I load, IL means the imposed load, that is I load, and ELX, ELY, ELZ. These are the different combinations. So likewise, 1.2 times, 1.5 times, and 0.9 times. These are the different load combinations. And now equivalent 3D load shall be taken as under root ELX square plus ELX y square, ELY square plus ELZ square. That is the root of this addition. Section properties that have the specific criteria. In RC and masonry structure, 70% of I gross. Now, how to calculate I gross? If it is rectangular, if it is I section, if it is channel section, that is the logic for this. And for column, this is 70%, and for beam, 35% of the I gross shall be taken. So these are the stiffness criteria. Soil interaction is related to the foundation, and for foundation we have the different other soil, and this classification of the soil type A, type B, type C depends on the value of the N. That is the corrected value of N for different zones. We have the specific definition for the soft story and for the weak story. Now, as per the previous IS code, the story which is having the lattice stiffness less than the 70% of the above story or less than the average, less than 80% of the average story can be termed as the soft story, and the stiffness irregularity or for that the soft story as per the new as per the definition little change. Likewise, if we have the weak story, the definition for this weak story is also little change. The story is having the smaller stiffness than the other stiffness is termed as the weak story. But in IS 2002, the story which is having the stiffness less than 80% of the other story shall be taken as the weak story. But now, as per the IS 2016, the story which is having the lesser stiffness than the other story shall be treated as the weak story. So these are the definition of these stories. The least the minimum design earthquake horizontal lateral force for which a building shall be designed, that is the in percentage it is given as for different zone 0.7, 1.1, 1%, 2.4% that we have already seen, or we can calculate from the AH values. Torsional effect shall be taken into the consideration for designing these forces, and value of the eccentricity that is governed by the formula EDI equals to 1.5 times ESI plus 0.05 BI. So these are the design eccentricity shall be taken into consideration. Now the monolithic construction, RC construction, precast, pre-stress and flat type structure, we have the criteria to consider for this in the IS 181392/2016. So in conjunction with the IS 1893, we'll have to refer the IS 1390. So for detailed designing and the specific design for the earthquake forces, we will have to take both the IS code in the consideration, because some of the clauses of the IS 1893 are better explained by IS 1390. For the RC walls, we have seen the formula for TA, that is the time period, that is governed by AW. This we have seen the grade of the concrete and grade of the steel shall not be less than M20, and if it is a higher height of the building, M25 is specified. Like as for water tank, M25 is only, and M30 is given for the water tank. So these are the specifications for the grade of the concrete and grade of the steel. Actually, the steel is preferred than the mild steel. So we have this 0.1 FCK factor action stress. Now it is changed to 0.08 FCK. Confinement of the reinforcement and the data detailing, the beam junction, beam column junction, that is we have seen. Minimum 0.24 under FCK upon FY. That is the tension reinforcement, that is the minimum still required. So minimum diameter of the bar shall be given as the 12 mm. That is for the main reinforcement. And for this stirrup, you can use the 8 mm bar. Now we have the specific provisions. If you have the beam, shall not go for 12 mm bar. If you have the column, we need to take 16 mm 5 bars and more than that only. Lap length, spacing between that lap and the stirrup shall be less than 150 mm. And not more than 50% of the area of the steel bars on either top or bottom face shall be spliced at any one section. We have seen this 20 times dB, that is the one dimension of the column. dB is the diameter of the bar, or shall not be less than 300 mm. This we have seen. So the criteria for the lap length, 50% of the bar shall be spliced at one section, but not more than 50% shall be spliced. And that spacing for this splices shall be 150 mm. It shall not be greater than the 150 mm. So what are the revised incorporated revisions incorporated in the IS code? The first, we have seen the time period formula. For the shear wall, time period formula is different, 0.09 h upon root d. That was for normal building. But if you are in shear wall, the formula is little different. Then importance factors 1.5, 1.21. These are given. Disproportion factor depending on the stiffness criteria 5, 3, 4, 3.5. Those were given. Design spectra, which was 4 seconds in the previous IS code, is extended to the 6 second time period. Okay, so this is the. Now if we have using this steel building, we can use the IS code for the 5% damping. So generally we take the 3% damping, but for 5% damping also incorporated, it is for the material. So we can use this for the steel also. The load combinations and the vertical seismic coefficient is also incorporated. We have the formula for the AS, that is the horizontal seismic coefficient, but AVU is also incorporated for different types of the structures like building, water tanks, retaining walls. So AV is also incorporated. So this is the addition of this guidelines in the IS code. Critical zones in the IS code shall be taken for the confirmation of the reinforcement, and hence for this, the beams up to the length of 2D, large negative moments and shears occurs. Moment reversal is positive. Then we can go for the plastic hinge forms and require for the proper confinement of the reinforcement. Beam column joint, where reversal of the local shear causes the diagonal cracking. Then that the development length shall be properly specified. For drilling of the beam, general specification is given. Minimum compression steel shall be greater than 0.5% of the AST, that is 0.5% of the main steel. Minimum 2 bar for the length of the beam at the top and bottom, that is known. If it is a singly reinforced beam, the nominal reinforcement shall be provided at the top, that is the 10 mm dia bars, but main steel shall not be less than 12 mm dia bars. Full bond length, that is LD plus 10 times diameter bar shall be provided. Splice near the quarters span points only 50%, not more than the 50% shall be provided for the splices. Lap length LD, confinement within the stirrup space at 150 mm, it shall not be greater than 150 mm. Wave width greater than 200 mm given by the IS code. Longitudinal reinforcement, the criteria given by the IS code, 0.24 under FCK upon FY. Transfer reinforcement, spacing of the stirrup at the ends by the 2D, and that shall be less than D by 4 and greater than 0.8 times diameter of the smallest bar or 100 mm. Elsewhere it is less than or equal to D by 2 ratio. So that is the spacing of the stirrup. So we generally provide this 100 mm spacing of the stirrup, but if it is not 100 mm, that is greater than 8 times D or 2D, that is less than D by 4. That is the spacing of the stirrup. General provisions for the confinement, the junction, the change of the geometry. When there is a grid beam, hanger bars shall be provided in the correct positions. Main and secondary beam. The secondary beam, the depth of the secondary beam shall be is always less than the main beam, that we know. But when provided the secondary beams, the crack in the main beam shall be avoided by providing these hanger bars. So this will avoid the crack in the main beam. So these are some examples of the proper correct reinforcement detailing. How to avoid the crack at different sections by providing this reinforcement. Proper development length. So sloping beams, the reinforcement shall be provided from one side to another side by means of this inclined development length. For haunch beams, the reinforcement shall go at the top toward the cracks at the junction of the corners. Shear and torsion reinforcement in the beams, that shall be provided in the correct manner. For the cantilevers, when the load are acting in the cantilever in terms of that UDL point load. So if the bars are provided in the layers, that shall go with the proper development length. For the opening in the beams, that is opening in the beams, reinforcement shall be provided in the corners, in the closed stirrups, and that with the L by D ratios toward the cracks. Beam column junction as per the IS 13920 confinement. Splice detail for the columns. How to terminate the bars in the columns and the beams with the proper development length. Again, the total provision for this beam column junction. The spacing of the lateral tees shall be less than or equal to 100 mm for the confinement, or the spacing of the lateral tees shall be less than or equal to D by 2. So these are the correct detailing given for the continuous beam with different supports and the moment at the center and moment at the support. For putting, we know the specifications. For vibrational forces at the foundation or hammer type of the foundation block. So these are some example of the reinforcement detailing. How to avoid the cracks and how to provide this reinforcement. Okay, so this was regarding some important provisions of the IS code. So if you have any question, you can put. Then I would like to answer this question.
One question in the chat box.
Okay, let me see the chat box.
Yeah.
Or you can read the question because.
Yeah, that it was asked by Nisarg Gandhi. So he's asking about what is the clause describing the plastic hinges. So that we have to search in the IS code book.
I am unable to see the chat box.
Yeah. He's asking only the clause number for describing the plastic hinges.
Okay.
So
Which clause is the plastic hinges?
Yeah, that clause you can refer to the book.
Okay. The plastic hinge formation. The plastic hinges are formed at the junctions. If we have the frame, the plastic hinge will be formed as the beam column junction. That is the first location, and the second location will be formed as the center of the beam. Now, for the plastic hinges, we will have to go for the plastic design. That is the finding of the plastic moment, and from that plastic moment, we will have to find out the reinforcement. Now, we generally find out the one normal moment, that is the bending moment and shear force, and we go for this. Now, these clauses for the describing the plastic hinges are taken for the steel type of the structures. That is for the steel structure, and for steel structure, we use the latest theory, that is the LSM.
Okay.
And hence, these clauses, as per the steel structure, is given by this total provision of the IS 800/2007 and plastic design of these steel structures. That is the clause for the plastic hinges. What kind of dampers are generally used in the buildings and why? Okay. So Dhruv, I have asked this question. So dampers are the shock absorber. The main use of the damper is to damp the response of the structure. To damp means to oppose the displacement or excessive moments. Now, what are the different types of the dampers? These different types of the dampers is the first is the mass damper, and that is called as the tune mass damper. Another is the viscous damper. Then we have the bearings, viscous damper, tune mass damper, viscoelastic dampers. These are the various types of the dampers. Now, in the RC building, RC structure, we can use the mass damper, tune mass damper, that is provided at the top of the structure. The mass of this damper, when building vibrates or have the lateral displacement, this damper will counterbalance the displacement, and that will oppose the or damp the displacement in one of the direction. That is the use of this damper. Then we have the viscoelastic damper, friction damper. So in some of the damper, liquids are provided. So that liquids use as the damper. These springs that use as the shock absorber. The shock of the vehicle that you have in that is also damper. So diagonal dampers that can be used. When to consider time history analysis, we usually consider equivalent static analysis. Okay. I will give the answer to this question. We consider the equivalent static analysis in terms of the static analysis. When the static analysis, so these are the regular forces in the static analysis, but it is the rough design, rough analysis. Now, why to consider the time history analysis? Time history analysis occurs, or time history analysis shall be considered when the response according to time is to be taken. Time versus displacement.
Yes, sir.
Time versus the velocity. Time versus the acceleration. When we consider the velocity, displacement, and acceleration according to time, in that case we shall consider time history analysis. Time history analysis means it is the time to time record. That is the time history analysis. Why stiffness modifiers are required? Why code says to reduce column stiffness to 70%? Contribution of the column is more than the beam, and hence we have the strong column, weak beam. The contribution for the column is 70%, and for the beam it is the 30%, and hence column shall be reduced by 70%. So 70% for the column and 30% for the beam. That is given by the stiffness modifiers. What is the effect of soil structural interaction on earthquake design? As we consider the base as fixity in many cases, is this situation valid for all the cases? Okay. So Afroz Mohammed has asked a very nice question. Let me read his question. Yes, Afroz Mohammed has asked a very nice question, and the answer to this question is this situation valid for all the cases? The answer is no. This situation is not valid for all the cases. We shall not take only fixed base condition for all that was soil structural interaction, because if we consider soil fixed base and if the soil is soft, then the design and the analysis will be totally different. It will differ by 50% or 80%, and hence soil structural interaction is to be taken. Now, for soil structural interaction, we will have to convert the stiffness at the fixity by having the equivalent spring stiffness. And that will be delta x, delta y, delta z, and theta x, theta y, theta z, and that will be contributed to the soil structural interaction. Soil structural interaction is to be considered for the loose soil, soft soil. If it is a hard soil, no need to go for the soil structural interaction. But if it is a loose soil, black corner soil, soil structural interaction should be taken into consideration. In that case, the design is very different from the fixed base. Sir, do we also consider push analysis? Okay. Generally, what happens? We are considering the rough thumb rules for the designing. Nowadays also, we know how much diameter of the bar shall be considered. We have the rough design. The spacing between two strips shall be 100 mm. We are in the rough. Now, why push analysis? Push analysis is a nonlinear analysis. It is the static nonlinear analysis. Push analysis will give you the exact drift at the various location. That is the push analysis, and it is very much required. You will calculate the actual amount of the steel required by using the push analysis. And normal analysis, you only go for the rough design. So you will save your steel and the reinforcement and the amount of the concrete. That is the base advantage of the push analysis. Okay. Can you please explain table 6 or serial number 1, that is stiffness irregularity? What is SBD of unreinforced masonry? Okay. Let me explain you. In IS code, we have given the irregularities. We have the plan irregularity, that is very common. L-shaped building, T-shaped building, that is very common in plan irregularity. We generally design such of many structures. But if we have a mall, in the mall, first floor is having the open space. Middle story is having the heavy shops, the machineries. Third floor is light. Fourth floor is heavy. In that case, the mass at different levels are different, not constant. Also, the ducts, the escalators. In that case, stiffness irregularity occurs, and that stiffness irregularity is given by this clause. That is the stiffness irregularity. We have vertical irregularity also. So these are various types of the irregularities. In structural wall, position of the plastic hinges will be okay. If it is a structural wall and if it is having junction or joint at one of the location, plastic hinge will form at that location. That is the one, and the plastic hinge will occur at the moment where it is the excessive moment. That is the location of the plastic hinge. Can we apply this SME design method, static and dynamic, for steel structure also, or is there any modification are made for that? For structural steel, we use the our codal provision for based on the IS 800/2007. That is limit state design. Now in that, what we do? We design the column, we design the beam. Beam are to be designed as the members like the channel sections, the tubular sections. Those are the design governed by the steel structure. Now, depend on the damping also. We can use this coefficient of this structural seismic design by having the 5% damping. That is applicable to steel as given by this. And normal design for steel will be governed by the IS 800. And this design will be the plastic design for this steel. That is the main. So we will have to design this steel as the steel structure for the plastic moment. And for that, you will have to calculate ZP, not Z only, ZP, plastic section modulus. We have the ratio of ZP and ZE, that is the MP upon ME. So that is ZP. And from ZP, you will have to design this plastic member, that is the steel structure. So this is the only modification for the steel structure. Which method is more convenient for high-rise steel structure? For high-rise steel structure, you will have to use the wind analysis. So wind forces shall have to be taken for this steel structure. So wind velocity and wind forces, that will be more convenient for the high-rise steel structure.
Thank you, sir. Very nice answers given, and many participants are very interested and they are interacting with the expert. So that is a good sign that this session is going very well. And in this regard, I want to just highlight that whatever the questions was now raised by that participants, and the answer was given by Dr. Rajan Wankhede sir. So we have also included some of the sessions that are specially addressing to the design of steel structural buildings, and for that earthquake resistant design, how it can be done. So that also we are covering. And then that regarding that different types of mass dampers and all that. So that is also some of the experts are there. So they are giving you the in-depth designing regarding how these tune mass dampers are designed and how they are considered. And in some sessions also, we are also understanding how this can be applied in the software, so that whatever the IS code provisions.
I will put my contact number.
Yeah, yes, sir. Please.
I will put a mail ID and number so that people can ask me question.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the contact and the mail ID. Because this time people have asked so many nice questions.
Yes, sir.
Because for steel and RCC, the design changes.
Yes, yes.
In RCC, we use the structural steel and the concrete in combination with both. But in steel, we only use the one material. So it is not need of the composite, only the steel. In steel, we shall consider the that velocity of the wind. That is, the wind effect is predominant in the steel.
So thank you,
but the cross structure nice and steel, the main effect of the wind occurs. That is, the main force is the wind only.
Thank you, sir. Very nice presentation you have given regarding that new IS code provisions for earthquake resistant design. So thank you. Sir. We wish that our participants will collaborate with you and then have some interaction with the expert speaker. So I also thanks to all the participants for today being with us for this session. And then within 5 minutes, I will now end this session. And in next session at 2:30 again, we will meet with the new expert for this STDP. So thanks to all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Now I am also thankful to you for calling me and giving me an opportunity to deliver lecture.
We are very sorry that because of some communication mistake, we have asked you to present on time.
Yes.
Because there are same names are there, Rahul Wankhede and Rajan Wankhede. So it was.
So related, we have finished it today only. So it is good that I am free now.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Now I will log out from this.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rajan, sir.
So thanks to all participants, and now I will close this meeting, and then in next session we will meet at 2:30 again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.